Namaste. Just close your eyes and be comfortable. Being comfortable means you are aware of the body and mind is looking inside. The mind is looking inside simply means you rise in awareness. You're not making any effort. If I say look inside your heart, you become aware of the space, or maybe the emptiness. The heart that is on the right side, according to the Eastern wisdom, is of giving nature, is full of compassion, is full of love, veiled by the heart on the left, which is always expecting, demanding, obsessed with lot of things in the world and relations. So that is why we have a mantra, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Say in your mind, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Let everyone be happy. Happiness is our essential nature. Just your thinking, happiness is the essential nature of all the living species. And everyone is demanding and expecting, wants to receive, do not want to give. As a seeker on the journey, we commit ourselves to give whatever we can give in any situation, to people, to relationship, to the things and objects all around us. We should be like nature. We should be like nature. The air gives us the life. Do not send us the bill. Sun gives us the light for existence. Do not send us the bill. Same thing with the water. So when the mind starts with a giving nature, not only we dissolve the very expectations which causes the worries, stress and anxiety in our life. So we should always be ready giving happiness to others in any situation, in any relations. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. You know, when we may say that, are we praying peace for all? Prayer is a recognition that peace is the essential nature of everyone. It's a recognition, and we continue that recognition all the time. So what happens? We get rid of the expectations and the demanding nature. The very demanding nature causes disturbance in the mind because I'm waiting to receive. And that waiting to receive causes the anxiety. And the anxiety causes the worries, likes and dislikes, duality and a conflict. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Let there be completeness in all. Because there is no question of demanding an expectation if I feel, if I discover, if I realize that I'm complete in myself. Obviously, for physical survival, we need to depend on others outside. But for emotional survival, for psychological survival, we do not need anyone to praise and appreciate. Why? When we discover our nature, we find we are complete in ourselves. There is no need. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Let there be auspiciousness for all. When we all were born at a particular time, that is the most auspicious moment, not in the lives of our parents, but also in our life. Why? We are born as a human being. Very special. The human being has a free intellect, free will. That free will and the free intellect offers us to make a choice whether our life will be of a giving nature, not only to help everyone to live in peace and happiness, but also to others. That is, we should never forget that auspicious moment. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We are talking of the step 2 of the 40 steps to awakening. In the step 1, we know, or we have got the knowledge that what is the real self. To know what is real self, to acquire the knowledge of the real self from the Eastern wisdom is the very first step in the 40 steps of awakening. Don't you think, are you not amazed that our masters say, when you say I am stressed, and master instantly says, no, you are not. I am suffering. No, you are not worthy of suffering. I'm expecting. No, that is not your nature. I have a pain. No. They refuse because it is our false nature. Are you not amazed? Master says that we have 2 eyes. We have 2 eyes. One eye is the false, that is always blaming and complaining, and the other eye is always in peace and happiness, love and wisdom. Because we have been heavily conditioned by the society, by the culture. Our culture, our society lives in the mind. And that mind has created our personality of receiving nature, of expecting nature, demanding nature. We feel as if we demand and expect that will make me happy. And we have our experiences for so many years that very expectation and demanding nature is not going to help us to live in peace and happiness. So that is the nature of the false I. And what is the nature of the real I? The real I is always giving. like the nature. Mango tree, orange tree never demands, they give. When the mind grasps this knowledge and wants to find the real self, the journey starts. So, in the step one, we also understood that why we should know our real self. Because we don't know our real nature, the treasure is already inside us. The peace and happiness and the love and the wisdom are already inside us. And when we don't know, it means we are living in ignorance, misconception, wrong notions. What is wrong notion? I am stressed. Why? Because of the world outside. Because I think he or she is not doing the thing according to me. This is the wrong notion. So, like this, we have millions of wrong notions. So, here in the step one, we also understood the real self is pure consciousness. Conscious, that real self is not a part of the thought. It is not a property of thought. It is not a product of thought. Did you understand this point? Always remember, the moment any thought comes to you, real self is behind that thought. That is why you see that a French philosopher said, I think, therefore I am. No, I am, therefore I think. If I do not exist, how the mind can think? So it means all the thought pertaining to our stress, duality, conflict, anxiety, created by the demanding and expectation is the false side. We have to think. After listening, you sit down on a lazy chair with eyes open or closed and start thinking. Real self is of the nature of peace and happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. How come that I experience the stress in my life? And then ask your intellect to think it over. So if I drop the demanding nature from the world outside, will I have any kind of the stress in my life? And you will see that no. So that real self is different from the thought. And that real self pervades the thought, independent of the thought. That is what that is what we have understood. So once we understand that now there, what I need to do, the false I is here, the real I is here. So I have to drop, I have to recognize these are the movements of the false I. So you just by knowing, by understanding, you drop it. So what is left? Only the real self is left. But it is not an easy journey to complete. Yes, we can say intellectually it is okay, but first intellectual understanding is required. So now the master says in the second step, after knowing what is false I, what is the real I that we have covered in a couple of sessions. So the step two, that I should bring that real self indirectly in my or directly in my thought, speech, and action. If I don't bring that real self, means if I don't realize that real self in thought, speech, and action, progress cannot be made. So the second step teaches us that we should know our duties and the responsibilities as a human being. And we should perform those duties in peace and happiness out of the giving nature all the time in our life. We know intellectually. Now we in the step one that we are the real self. So why the second step to think, speak, and act in a way of giving nature? So that the knowledge is realized in daily life, in daily activities. Whereas daily life, we think, we speak, and we act. We meet people, relations, we work, wherever we work. So we use that thinking, the thought, in the speech and the action. So this thought in the speech hides those strong likes and dislikes with a specific emotion, feeling coming from the false side. And it instantly creates the demanding and expectation nature. That is why the second step is very important. Say, for example, that that someone knocks the door and you see that your son is there, and because the mind goes back to the memory lane and it brings forth all the pain and the sorrow and the expectation and the demanding nature, that causes the problem. So that is why the second step is that the way we think, understand another point here, that we live unconsciously, habitually, impulsively, instinctively. What it means? The mind already contains those strong likes and dislikes. It always contains a demanding and expectation nature. And now you are meeting your son or or daughter or any of your friend. So the mind wants to throw out all that demanding nature unconsciously. It is not your fault. It is not your fault. Do you understand? It is not your fault. What it means? The mind, because of its habitual nature, it is filled with those expectation and demanding nature, and then it starts thinking in that way. It starts speaking. It acts in that way. So that mind does not have an option. So the second step gives the mind an option in spite of any situation, condition, relations. That option is that let me think out of the peace and happiness. Let me speak out of the peace and happiness what I have to do, what others are doing. Let me keep my attitude in the mind through my thought, speech, and action, coming from the peace and happiness, not coming from the demanding nature, not coming from the past memories. Are you getting it? It's very important. My master used to say that it is very easy to make your intellect understand these concepts, but the moment our life goes into action, we forget. Why forgetfulness? Because of heavy conditioning. Why forgetfulness? Because of because of wrong notion. Why we forget? Because of ignorance. We have to remind ourselves again and again that what I can give to this situation, what I can give to this person, how I can give in this relations, not including your relations, but also that I'm extra careful going to the kitchen and taking care of the stuff, driving the car. So I'm just moving out of love and care to anything and everything in all my actions. You do it just for a week and check out how many times you forget to move with love and care, even when you go to the kitchen, because your giving nature takes care of the gadgets, takes care of the car, takes care of the house, takes care of the clothes, takes care of the people, takes care of the relations, takes care of the situation. But when we have a demanding nature and expectation, then that mind goes into anxiety, duality, and a conflict. And then we break our cup in the kitchen. We drive very fast or slow the car. We don't care the house. Lot of things happens. Lot of things. Just try to understand that. That is why the second step is the ideal step in the journey of the awakening, because now we are changing the entire mental perspective towards the life. Not only we calm down, but we don't create any situation or any condition in the life that causes any kind of a stress and anxiety to others. After all, we are known by all our actions. You are continuing the journey because the way I perform the action with you, anytime, anytime I come here to speak, my whole idea, understanding, intention is that how much I give. Let me give everything in this session. And if your mind is very calm and relaxed, receptive, and aware, you change. We are known by our actions. So we have to be aware. All that are actions in the form of a thought, speech, and action, either it can come from that demanding personality or giving personality. What I have to change? I have to change my mind inside. I have an option. That demanding nature, all our actions comes from vasana, Sanskrit word. So vasana means deep-rooted past impressions. And these deep-rooted past impressions are thoughtless actions. Anger, fear, reaction, fight. And they enter from the back door. You are enjoying your time at your home, and some of your relation comes. Your mind was enjoying alone, and the moment you see your relations, your mind instantly changes all its nature because of the past impressions. Don't you have you not seen that? Have you not experienced that? So challenge the mind. How dare you mind change your expression? It has nothing to do with you. But it has to do with you as long as we keep the demanding and expectation. Our memory, likes and dislikes, pain and the grief are expressed in our behavior and attitude. All our actions tells us who we are. I start fighting with you. So don't see that, I'm saying anything right or good. But I have started fighting with you means that my behavior and attitude expresses what is within me, from which center I'm speaking. Am I speaking from the false I or the real I? Are you getting it, my friend? You have to be very clear. No outer situation, people, relations, conditions can cause you this stress. It is my own false I that has collected the memories of the likes and dislikes, pain and the grief are expressed in my behavior and the action. Are you understanding? Say yes. If you do not understand, so you have to listen it again. Repeat listening drives the wrong notions away. So we have understood what we have understood. We have understood that all our actions tells us who we are, and all our actions are expressed in behavior and attitude. And what is behavior? Behavior is the performance of an action. What is that action? The way I think, the way I speak about you, the way I act with you. How do we behave? That is how we say, how do we behave with the people, relations, and situations? The cause is hidden inside. Two eyes, false eye or the real eye. So clear, the behavior is the outer performance. And then what is coming from inside? My attitude. That attitude takes the knowledge and the information from the false eye, or the attitude takes the information from the real self. And here we don't know the real self yet. So we are taking an attitude of giving nature. The moment anyone knocks the door, again I'm saying, your mind start thinking, how should I give the best? At least emotionally and mentally, I should give peace and the calmness to this guy, whom I have yet to meet after opening the door. You're going for a party, you have to, your mind switch off the attitude, switch off the memories of the false side, and it switches on the memory of what you are learning. Oh, in what way I can emotionally and mentally give to this party, to this people, to this situation. And you will see, you will return home with immense peace and happiness in your life. That was the first time you will recognize how important this step is. Do we perform our action with the incomplete knowledge? That is what we have been doing, and that is what causes the stress and anxiety in our life. Mostly all our thought, speech, and action comes from the past. Memories of likes and dislikes. That is why we don't want to that is why we react. We don't want, but we react. Because attitude, are you understanding? Action, two element, behavior outside and attitude inside. So we do not want stress, and still stress enters into the mind. We don't want to be upset, but still we get upset. We don't want fear, but still the fear enters. We don't want to be anxious, we get into anxiety. I'm addressing your real issues. It doesn't come from outside, it comes from within, my friend. So the step 2 is an ideal step in this journey to know how to act in life. How to act in life is to think, speak, and physically act. So thinking has an element coming either from the false side or coming from the real eye. But I don't know the real eye. You may say that, your mind may say that. Oh, let me have a giving nature. Let me think in what way I can contribute, I can give emotionally and mentally and intellectually in this relationship, in this situation, to that person in the party. You are always free. You are just dancing in freedom. You're dancing in joy, inner joy. That is what I have been trying to convey to you. Step 2 also gives knowledge. Remember this. So knowledge plus emotion is caring and sharing. Knowledge plus emotion drops the emotional dependence and expectations. But when we have that in the mind, I have to express it. The way we express our anger, anxiety, duality, and in conflict, now you are expressing the same in peace, love, happiness, and wisdom. We have no option but to act, because understand that you cannot withdraw from all the actions in the life. We are living in a society, we are living in a world where we have to act. So there is no option not to act. You know what happens? You get stressed because of a particular person, you return home, and for a couple of days we withdraw ourselves. No, that withdrawal is wrong. Because then you are feeding your mind again and again. And that's why we get more stress. Now you are stressed with yourself only. You have no option. No action means withdrawal. Withdrawal means the mind goes back to the same old stuff. And that is equivalent to death. Because then we feel as if we are totally gone in moments of anxiety. Death has no emotion. We feel like that. So we have to live. We live, we have to act. We have to act. What to do then? We know the attitude defines our behavior. I told you, all our actions has two elements. Whether you are thinking, whether you are speaking, whether you are acting. Physical action. What to do then? We know attitude defines our behavior. Can we change our attitude? And I told you the attitude means make a choice intellectually. False eye. You meet a person and the false eye say, oh, this guy is crazy. I should not talk to this. Let me keep a distance. No. No. I should not be affected by outer person or situation inside. Instantly replace that thought in your mind. What I have to do with this guy, whether this guy is crazy or not? Let me spare a little love and the care. Who knows? He is expecting that love and care from me, and if I offer that love and care, he may change or she may change. So, what is happening? You have changed your attitude inside the mind. You are free, and you have shared your thought and speech and love and the care. What happened? What happened? At least you are free. You are not impacted by that person, that relations, that talk. That is the step two changes you at a very subtler level, which you cannot imagine now unless you apply that into your practice. That is what I have been telling you. Every attitude comes either from the memories of likes and dislikes, past impressions, duality, and a conflict. That is one option. And if I consciously think of a giving nature, so my attitude is going to change first inside and expressed as a thought, and then the speech, and then the action. At that very moment, you feel so light and calm, easy. You see, I wanted to tell you something very, very interesting. People talk of the sins and virtues, the merit and demerits. The religion always talks of the sins and you confess your sin. We need not to confess the sin if we understand what are the sins. In Eastern wisdom, we see that all the sins causes pain, conflict, it creates an unfavorable situation, strained relations, anxiety, duality, and all the negative thinking and actions. These are the sins. And from where the sin, we cannot see the sin visibly, but its impact is felt. So, what is the impact of the sin? You are into anxiety, you meet unfavorable situation, people, relations. You keep on thinking. Your mind is moving in a circle about after the reaction. You feel that you are suffering. So the impact of the sins are felt every day in our life. I'm Do you know where I'm going? Perhaps you know it. So, from where these sins are present in the invisible form, it has been accumulated due to our past impressions belonging to the false I because of demanding nature, because of creating strong likes and dislikes, duality and a conflict. This is what the sins are. I told you, sins we do not see. Same way, the merits and the virtues we do not see. But when you are feeling calm and relaxed, peace and happiness, you are getting along with everyone, free from the anxiety, how it is possible by giving nature, then you recognize and realize the importance of the merits in your life and also the merits of the step number two. Attitude has to change. How can I change my attitude if one person is crazy? He is crazy for himself. It has nothing to do with you. No, no, he is talking to me or she is talking to me. Are you not a human being? Don't you have a free intellect? Don't you have a control on yourself? Can't you take charge of the intellect? Can't you ask the intellect, oh, although he is crazy, he's angry, so let me withdraw myself. That is the best option I have. Let me give some little more care, which he is expecting. That is why he is angry. Are you understanding that? Fine. So your attitude changed completely. So what happened? You are feeling light. The guy is crazy and angry. Let him. But no, because your attitude has changed, you have helped him or her by not reacting, by not acting out of the false eye. How to do that? Change your attitude. At that moment, you think, what can I give up? He's angry and upset. Perhaps he's asking me something to give him care or love and respect. Respect. Not only you avoided the conflict, not only you prevented yourself entering into the anxiety, but you also helped the other guy. Why? You prevented a rift. The other guy will have a very positive impression about you. Look at this, I was so upset and still he or she responded with a positive attitude. I can tell you it brings an instant result. You need not to be anxious and angry and scared. Why it is not happening? Because we never knew all the stress and suffering begins in our mind first. And that mind unconsciously, habitually, impulsively receives what we have accumulated in our past life. And that creates an attitude. Then it is expressed in behavior. My goodness. Step two is the answer. So, what we say, what is the step two? We move from karma. Karma means action to karma yoga. Yoga is not, that you're standing on a headstand, you're doing a headstand posture. Here, yoga means the inner mental state, mental attitude. Our behavior and attitude are reflected in thought, speech, and action. All impressions cannot express itself. Who does it? It is done by an attitude of expectation, obsession, demanding nature. You have to listen to this again and again. Are you understanding? Say yes. If not, then you have to listen. Repeat listening will help you. It is done by an attitude of expectation, obsession, demanding nature. Our demanding nature is ego, supported by the sins and virtues. Sins and virtues means favorable or unfavorable condition, anxiety, duality. We have an option. So I brought another word in this talk, that is ego. What is ego? Is an individual. Ego, I represent the false self. I am the body, breath, mind, intellect, plus I thought is the ego. But now understand in a different way. You see that. You see the outer situation, person, relationship, condition. So that is the person number one in us. Now you see a particular person and you have a feeling. You have a particular feeling. Emotions triggers because of looking at a person. Or maybe anything, any object. You like the red color. The moment you see the red color, and if you like it, it triggers a certain emotion. That is the person two. So the person one in you perceives the outer place, position, status, events with the word. And the person two triggers, that person two lives in us. So it is supported by past impression and feeling. It triggers a particular attitude. So two person now makes the person one and two. In you, it is happening in you. That person one and two merge together, what is known as the ego. Go back to the person two. So it triggers certain emotion and the feeling, an idea about the world, people, relations, and everything. So from where that emotion triggers, it comes from inside. From where it comes from my past impression, the way I lived my life. I've been doing the same thing again and again and again and again and expecting a different result. So that false I is always full of expectation. And that creates the false I, and we are living in that ego. Now, what is that ego? It is an imagined person created by the person one and the two. Both are living in me. Can you locate the person one? Can you locate the person two? No. They are in feelings, thoughts, and imagination. They are in feelings, thoughts, and imaginations, my friend. Step number two, we take a conscious approach to replace. We give a typical solution to the attitude of the mind. We are saying to the mind, don't go that way. Don't go the way of receiving, demanding, expectation, emotional dependence. Follow the other way, giving nature. Can you contribute anything physically to your son? Contribute. With awareness, not with an emotional dependence. Can you contribute emotionally to your son? Contribute. By giving. Let me care. Let me give love. Let me spare. Oh, he seems to be upset. That is what I'm talking of the giving nature. So the step two of this 40 steps of awakening that you are reading the book, perhaps the third or the fourth chapter, you can find out, demands a change in attitude first, and then you express it in a behavior. First, I must think inside my head, replacing all the demanding attitude. Then only that thought will convert into an emotion expressed in behavior. Our thinking about the world is normally. Our thinking, our thought, and emotions and impressions about the world is normally with attachment. And the moment I have an attachment, the mind says, now I caught you. I will take over you. Why? Start expecting, create an emotional dependence, ready to react, passion. So what happens? Whatever we have accumulated deep inside our head, it comes in the front and it is ready to express in behavior and action. Got into anxiety, reaction, blame and complaint and stress and frustration, disturbed sleep. Our speech contains some elements of conflict and confusion because of this. Whether you hide it or not, it will be. The moment you change that attitude, let me give. Now you're not hiding any conflict or confusion inside your head. Now you don't have any wrong notion. Giving nature does not have any wrong notion. We want to work or act, speak, and think in peace, love. That is what the giving attitude is. So now what happens? Now the mind triggers your merits. Mind is triggering your virtues inside you. And ultimately, your behavior becomes harmonious to the nature, to the situation, to the people. First time you recognize what is the way not to get stressed in relations, situations, events, and conditions. Whatever the condition outside may be, it doesn't make any difference. I've already told you many a times. Sometimes what happens, our emotions are so strong that we are not able to take over. These emotions coming from the past impressions take over us. That is the right moment your intellect, your mind must remember. Ask your mind, hammer your mind. Internally, I'm saying, does anyone sends me SMS or email to get into anxiety or stress or conflict in this situation with this guy? Nobody sends. It is coming from inside me. No one sends anything from outside. Everything is happening inside me. Do you remember the story of a young and the old monk? If you don't, let me know. Remember that. So the old monk, the past impressions which was already present in the mind, they came in the front of the mind, and he was more upset than the young monk. My goodness. So what happens with that a giving attitude, gradually we recognize and realize we are responsible for all our sorrow and happiness. Responsible means responsible means that, responsible means I'm responsible. False I say that I'm the false I. So I trigger all the emotions from my past impressions and experiences. Real I, there is another choice of peace and happiness. The old monk, the old monk realized that he is right even when he his mind triggers the impressions of the past and started blaming the young monk. And the young monk is already free. He has an attitude of giving nature, so he helped the young girl to cross the river. So when you are in a mode of giving nature, every thought you think of is complete. You need not to rethink. But if it is incomplete because of the demanding and expectation, because of the likes and dislikes, the thought is never complete in itself. So what is going to happen? First, it accumulates the impression in your mind as a safe deposit so that you can trigger the same reaction in the future. And second, it makes you stressed. You keep on repeating those thoughts. You keep on thinking about that he is not respected, or she did not respect me, or this situation has created a lot of challenges. But once you are 100% sure that I'm responsible for my stress and suffering and anxiety because I have taken the side of the false side, not taken the side of the real life, then it will be expressed in behavior and attitude. What happens if we start acting like a young monk in my daily life? Morning, you wake up and you say, thank you, God. Thank you, air. Thank you, sun. Thank you, water. You're sending any bills to me, but you have a giving nature. Can I have that giving nature like you? Like the sun, like the space, like the air, like the water, like the trees that you always give. And you start your day with that idea, with that thought. That is what the second step is. That is what the karma yoga is. Karma yoga, step number 2 is not to act out of the ego. Ego has its basis, I told you, person 1, 2, and 3. And they all invite their siblings. What are their siblings? Like, dislike, duality, conflict, anxiety. And we want to repeat the same thing again. No, I'm not. So step number 2 is not to act out of the ego, but out of giving nature. So doer, no, you're thinker, speaker, and doer. As ego is absent, by giving nature, we unite with the existence. All the powers of the existence starts helping us. Unless you realize it, then only you will believe it. And I'm using only one part of the principle, giving nature. Why body, mind? They are craving for the giving nature. We are holding it by expecting, by demanding nature. In this way, we are actually treating, we are giving a very strong treatment to our ego, our emotional dependence, our anxiety, our duality, our conflict that causes the impurities of the mind. And these impurities of the mind always lives with us. So when you start thinking of a giving nature, you are replacing, you are diluting, you are minimizing, you are reducing the impact. Another doubt comes to the mind. If ego is absent, then how can I perform? How can I live my life without ego? Is that a doubt in you? Yes, that is why we have a third step. Is ego the problem? Ego is just an I thought. I thought says inside, I have done right to him or her, still he or she is causing anxiety to me. and giving attitude. Now you move to the shift to the giving nature. Now the giving nature has also an I thought. Now what this I thought says, I have done right to him or in her or to that situation, keeping that giving nature. What is going to happen? God is not going to disturb you. You have completed your action. Every moment you have completed your action. So what happens? You have a sense of freedom. Why? That false I is supported by likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment, joy and the sorrow. Why? Because of demanding and expecting nature. Now this I is supported by love and care, by giving nature. I can tell you, you sit at your home and visualize your son and see that what you can give emotionally. As a mother, I will continue to take care of you. I love you. I'm affectionate to you. I will make sure that when you come to me in the moments of the stress and duality, I will spare my love and care to you. I will not start teaching you. I will not expect anything from you. I am simply saying you think like this, at least for a week, and you see what tremendous change. One of the masters says that false I is an unripe, like an unripe mango. Unripe mango is very, you see bitter. And giving nature, I is a ripe mango, sweet. Think of it. What happens in karma yoga? This is what the step number 2. If you see that you can give something at the physical level, that helps to remove the impurity of the mind. Can you give anything at the emotional level? I have already explained to you that is going to happen. We should be ready to give peace and happiness, love and wisdom. We should avoid expecting and demanding peace. Demanding from anyone. I do not get appreciation. That is demanding nature. Everyone causes anxiety, stress. Mind will change. We need to do it all the time. Intellectual level. We should think, speak, and act free from the likes and dislikes. How? Just giving nature. Otherwise, the egoistic nature will take hold of us. Biggest problem you can say either is ego, either expecting nature, demanding nature, emotional dependence. You can give different names of it. But as long as this expectation nature is present, we cannot change our behavior and attitude. We will be able to dissolve the root cause of anxiety, duality in a problem by giving nature. What will happen in that? We are awakened. Still, we need to follow and complete the 40 steps. Can we change what is behind that action? Answer is yes. We can definitely change. We can definitely change. We can definitely change. Our desire should be not to prove. In the world outside, our desire should be to improve. Our desire should not be to involve in all the affairs, getting emotional dependence. No, our desire should be to evolve. You have already understood what is giving nature. Nature always gives. So understand, contemplate. Why, even in deep sleep, that air has a giving nature. It prevents me dying. Water inside, water outside. I use it for my cleanliness. So my inside is the attitude and outside is the expression. Focus your mind on the giving nature. So what is going to happen? You dilute, you minimize the presence of the ego in daily world affairs. So what is going to happen? I will explain you about the cops, the story of the cops. So we will understand when the ego is diluted, then there is no, how can I work? That is going to be our third step. Thank you.